Howdy, everybody. Welcome to this evening's episode of Ham Nuggets. We appreciate you all being here. Tonight, we're going to discuss a very special topic that's near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is printed circuit board identification.
Oh, I thought you were going to say beer.
Beer, yeah. I have no idea what this circuit board does. What I did was, and you guys have heard this story before, I went to an estate sale and I bought everything that the survivor had. It was the OM's daughter. I guess that's the polite way. The OM SK's daughter. And she was just looking to get rid of everything, and nobody showed up but me to buy it. And I bought everything that she had and helped her empty out the place. And I got this box of QRP kits. We have more kits to go. This is just one that I didn't know anything about and probably deserves a show all on its own. As you saw in the thumbnail, it actually says that this kit is unknown right on it. So like, we're coming from a really good spot. We got everything in a little baggie. So I know I have all the parts that belong to the kit, but I don't know what order they go in. And there's very, very, very little identifying markings. So I called an expert, and then I called an expert's expert, and then I called another expert on top of the two experts that I called before. And then we finally arrived at Derek here. Derek from AMRAD Podcast. His link is in the description down below. If you haven't seen Derek's channel before, you're missing out on some real geeking out. Derek, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
How's it going? So originally I was doing an electronics podcast called The Current Source, TCS. You might have seen me there. But that kind of battled with YouTube to try to get ahead, and just kind of was spinning my wheels. So kind of put that to bed. At the same time, Element 14 asked me if I wanted to come on and do some electronics videos for them. So that's kind of what I've been doing. The show is called DC to Daylight. So that's really just electronics theory and application, or every topic. I do 2 videos on it. And sometimes I try to slip some ham radio into there to the general public.
I noticed that in the last 1 or 2 of your videos.
Yeah, we got a few more coming out. So eventually I got to get back to semiconductors, but we've been doing some ham radio stuff. In a few weeks, there's going to be one where I actually take something out to the park and play around. So that'll be kind of fun. So that's cool. About it. Oh,
you guys,
AMRAD Podcast is the other channel that I have, but I haven't actually done all that much with. But
I was going to say, have you put anything out on AMRAD in a while?
Sorry, Tio.
Jim asked you a question.
Did I freeze up on there?
No,
Jim asked you a question, then you just went silent.
Oh,
did I switch into Russian again?
He said, have you put anything out on AMRAD Podcast lately?
I haven't seen anything on AMRAD in a minute.
No, not since the choke. Not since the choke that I did with the vertical antenna. So
okay,
but I got a pile of stuff. I want to do a soldering video. That's probably going to be coming up next. I've got one of those ELF, extremely low frequency kits that I'd like to put together. So that's something I want to work on. Use that as an example of soldering, and play around with more antennas.
What are you going to do with an ELF kit?
You can listen to sprites and weird stuff that goes on in the atmosphere.
Okay.
So weird stuff. Talk to aliens.
Sprites, pixies, fairies, trolls, kind of gnomes.
But it's a good opportunity to learn how to solder through whole components. So I figured I'd use that.
Excellent. I assume you do SMD solder on a regular basis as well.
Yep. Yeah. I do some SMD for like R&D stuff for work, and mostly down to like 0402, which is the really tiny stuff. Anything smaller than that, I won't touch it. But for prototyping, yeah, I do some SMD.
So 402,
put it in the tweezers and they shoot across the room. Is like the worst thing ever.
And
in millimeters, 0.402 millimeters. Is that what that means?
It's the length and the width, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't even think it's millimeters.
Too wide. Well, I mean that'd be microns. That seems. I don't know. I don't know how to number that stuff. So
I forget. There's like an imperial and there's a metric, and some of the numbers overlap. So I always have to look it up every time.
And you do all the SMD stuff with hot air, I guess, right?
Yep, I've got a Weller station over there somewhere. I don't know if you can see it next to the toolbox, and but the heater element keeps blowing out on it, so I haven't actually done any hot air for a while.
So you need your soldering station to fix your hot air station. That seems
right, exactly. Let's rub some sticks together.
Right.
How's it going, Ape?
Right, we have a super chat from Chrissy. Thank you very much, Chrissy.
I'm sorry.
Jim was busy, waxing historic. Thank you very much, Chrissy. We appreciate
Give me
that.
some milk.
I do. So yeah, Derek, did you want to talk about some more stuff, or did you want to go to the bench first? How did you want to do this?
I guess I can show everybody what you sent me.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm kind of overexposed, but can you see that? That's the
Yeah,
board
let me
that
put you up
me.
there, and then do that.
It's in the thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
So we've got 2 transistors, a Zener diode, some resistors and capacitors, and then some funky kind of there's 6 holes there for the transformer. But we can take a closer look at that under the
There's a place for a toroid. So the things that confused me about this were, number one, what does it do, which would help in figuring out where to put the parts, and then number 2 is the toroid. Is that just a straight wind? It probably is. And then you get down to the capacitors and resistors, and who knows where on the board they go, because the board isn't labeled like what the values are for the capacitors. So I was just going to start putting them in. And then if you know me, I do that.
So we got some caps, the transistors, diode over here, and then the toroid. So yeah.
And clearly it runs on 9 volts. I mean, there are some clues.
So if you guys want to tell some jokes, I'll try to switch my camera over to the bench. This is totally kind of untested. So
we could pay the bills.
We could pay the bills. We have a commercial to run. That's true.
I'll handle that. I got let's see. Let's run that.
Scott.
Hey guys, this is Jim from Coffee and Ham Radios, and I wanted to show you a couple things that we're very proud of. First up is our signature Coffee and Ham Radios stainless steel tumbler. This is the 30-ounce double wall vacuum insulated stainless steel tumbler designed to keep your hot beverages hot and your cold beverages cold. It has a hard plastic lid. This is a tight-fitting lid and is designed to not come off in the event of a catastrophic tump over of your beverage. This will keep things warm for quite a while. This is an everyday driver for me. My coffee gets poured in this at the house, and an hour and a half later, I'm still drinking hot coffee at work. The lid that goes on has a rubber seal to keep from leaking. And these tumblers come with a unique lid that has this safety latch that you can pop back and lock in place to take a drink of your beverage and then put it back, latch it down, and nothing is going to spill. So even if this thing gets knocked over at field day, nothing is going to spill out. These come with a sticker from Arctic, which is where we got these made at. These are excellent tumblers. I highly recommend. The other thing we have.
Oh,
awesome. Half a commercial.
We save the other half for later.
Right.
So Derek, we got you back, and we got the whiteboard, and I was able to rearrange the scene behind the scenes during the commercial. That's a neat trick. We're going to have to use that later on. Transition videos. And then I can blindly rearrange stuff behind. So take it away, Derek. Derek.
Yes, he's away from the keyboard.
Derek's taking a pee break.
Okay. Is that the gadget that you posted the picture of in Toads and asked us what that was?
Yeah, I've been asking about this for, I don't know, about a year now, and we're getting there. So we've got some 2N4401 transistors. We've got an 1N52 diode, and then we've got some capacitors. And if you've seen what I do before, when I get a kit, I will space all the parts out, tape them all down, get them all labeled so that I can tell what they are at a really quick glance while I'm doing some building.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, brother. Take it away.
Thank you. So this is I'm using a shotgun mic I haven't used before, so that'll teach me to use something new.
He's gloving up.
Gloving up.
Curious.
It's tradition, black gloves on this channel. All right.
Nice.
So it's kind of hard for me to tell what's going on because I'm at the bench now, but we've got the two N4401 transistors. We've got the 1N5231 Zener diode, which is a 5.1 Zener diode, 5.1 volt. Then we've got, I think this was a 200 ohm resistor, a little trimmer cap, and a lot of these 10 nanofarad capacitors, as well as a 27 picofarad cap, 10K, 22K, 1.5K, 4.7K, 680 ohm resistor. And then we've got this, I guess it's a 50 millimeter toroid. And
Looks
then,
like it.
of course, this guy. So I don't know. I guess he didn't have any instructions or anything that said what kind of, this is maybe a 30 or type 43. Not really sure. But this is the
board. I would
board.
agree with that assessment.
See if I can zoom in here.
Oh, look at that. Enhance.
Enhance.
That's right. This is like CSI, baby. Magic computer.
All right. So I guess what we can do is try to create a schematic off of this if you guys are game for that from
Yeah, definitely.
kind of reverse engineering this. So let me grab my DMN.
And I did try to put a schematic together, but I actually don't know how to draw a schematic. Like, I know what I would think it would look like, but I don't know what a professional would think it would look like. But I drew all the connections between all the things.
So let's see if I can fit all this in. And I apologize. I was literally playing with my brother's kid, playing cards with my brother's kids a little while ago. So you might hear some babies crying and stuff in the background, but
because they lost, they were losing.
That's right. So let's try to see if we can fit everything in here. And all I'm doing is just checking the resistance or checking for shorts. We can kind of reverse engineer the schematic from there.
Check your shorts.
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing that I notice is that usually small circuits like this, you'll design it from basically from the left to the right, the same as you would see on a schematic. So on the front end, I can see that the diode is right here, and the diode probably connects directly to this resistor R2 right here. So we can just verify that. Okay. And that's typical for any Zener diode. I guess we can start there. So we'll have a resistor. We got our Zener diode, which is a 5.1 volt. And that goes to ground. So Zener diode's always reverse biased when we use it as a voltage regulator. And then that usually goes to the positive supply. So we can verify this resistor. You can see the trace goes over to this R5 and also to the plus, V plus. So that's the positive side of our 9-volt battery. So we know that. And usually we'll tap a reference voltage off the Zener diode to get that 5 volts. And I don't know what this value is. It'll usually be around 1 to 10K. Depends on how much current we want to put through this. So something is going to be connected between this top side of the diode, and it looks like it goes directly to C2 over here. So we're tapping right off this guy with a capacitor. Now this, you can't really see that, can you? So this is kind of a dead giveaway as to what it is right here. So I can't see the chat, but can anybody figure it out just based off of these 3 components?
Nope, not me.
I have no idea. Filter? No, not with the diode in it.
No, I think you dropped out. Hopefully you can hear me. So a Zener diode.
We can hear you.
Okay, so Zener diode is used for voltage regulation in a DC circuit, or this also produces noise. So if we push a bunch of current through this LED,
Arnold Grubbs got it. He said noise source.
So we'll have a PN junction, and as the electrons pop over to the other side through tunneling or avalanche as the other type of diode, it actually creates noise. So that noise, if you look at in the frequency domain, sorry, you couldn't see that. So this is our PN junction. Electrons are hopping across the junction, and that creates noise. So if you look at that, you have this wideband noise source, okay? And it's that fast rate of change that flows through this capacitor. So this allows AC to flow, but blocks DC.
Blocks the DC. Yep.
So this is not a voltage regulator. So I thought this was some kind of oscillator. I thought maybe it was some kind of Morse key type thing, because it does say NEQRP under here.
Yeah, and then it just has a date of 12/2001. People were asking about that in the chat.
So to me, I don't know if anybody wants to look this up. Maybe we can find a schematic, but New England QRP, I think, has a club in Massachusetts. So it's going back kind of far. So I don't know if we'd be able to find out what kit this is.
And I did do all the obvious Google stuff like that and didn't come up with anything in particular.
Okay, so I would probably search for New England QRP and then noise source, or this could be a noise bridge. So, but this is a dead giveaway, this guy right here. So we can keep going a little further with this. So this capacitor's got to go this side. So I'm not really focused, am I?
No, it just jumped out. It was good for a minute there. There it is.
Put it in manual. There we go. So this side of the capacitor probably goes to the base of the transistor, and the 2N4401 is, I believe, emitter base collector. So it is connected to the base of this transistor. So that goes down here. Let's verify. That's usually, the emitter is usually connected to ground, which would be V negative, which it is. So we have to have some kind of resistor in this transistor circuit to limit the current. So this is the collector. There's usually a resistor here. So you see that's connected to R3. So this would be R3. And this probably goes to V plus. It's right here.
So I found New England QRP Club, but
Actually, that's R4.
I don't see anything in here about that kit at all. They don't even
No?
So the
They're not even
collector,
on their website.
it looks like the collector went to R3 and
Because-
then something else goes to R4.
So that is R4. Sorry. R4 goes from the collector to the positive rail. You can see the positive rail right here. So R3 also connects to the collector up here. So where does this other side go? It goes to the base. So this guy goes here like this. And that is R3. Okay, so this is pretty typical of an NPN common emitter because it goes to common. That's the return path. And this particular bias is called the collector feedback bias because we have a feedback resistor going from the collector to the base. So I think that is it for this whole front third of the board. Actually, we didn't figure out what C3 was, did we?
Derek, Jody is saying it looks a bit like a K7QO noise bridge.
K7OQ noise bridge. Is there a schematic for that?
There is. I just pasted the link in the private
C3.
chat.
I'll get it.
So C3 goes from the negative rail across to the positive rail.
We don't
So
have any
that-
screen real estate to show it on just yet.
Right.
So this guy just goes like this to ground. So this is just to decouple noise. So I'm betting that this is a 10 nanofarad cap, right? Just for noise. So that's what that is. So we figured out this whole front part of the board. We have a noise source that goes through a cap on the base, and this is just an amplifier. It's a common emitter amplifier.
Nice.
So it looks like we have the same R3, R4, R6, R5. These are almost carbon copy.
It did
far
look
as-
a lot like an exact copy.
So it's probably just a two-stage amplifier. So we have a coupling capacitor here from collector. Yep. Collector, that would probably go to the base. So we probably have another stage here. It's exactly the same. Let's check and make sure that's ground. It is. So we have a cap here. Goes across to that. And we probably have the same situation here. With that, and then this goes to the base, right? Yep.
And you're drawing those as NPNs. Is that because you know the 2N4401 is an NPN, or how did you
Yeah.
figure that out?
The 4401 is a general purpose NPN transistor, small signal, just like the 2N3904. I think the 3904 has a cutoff frequency of like 150 to 300 megahertz or something like that. And I think the 4401 is very similar.
Right. And so if you didn't know that it was an NPN, you could actually take that part number and go look on Google and then put the word after it, data sheet.
Yeah, I printed out the data sheet somewhere. Sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
And that would tell you all kinds of stuff, you know, like how to use it, it wouldn't really tell you what to use it for, but it'll tell you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it'll tell you it's a general purpose. Sorry, I've got an echo. It'll tell you it's a general purpose NPN transistor that's used for audio applications or switch mode applications, driving relays, things of that nature. And there'll be sometimes some application notes, but this is such a generalized transistor. They don't usually put application notes in.
Jim, that echo is coming from you.
What?
Yeah, when I muted you, it went away. All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So we have the collector that comes off of that again and goes to some kind of capacitor. Looks like that's just going to the C5, and then C5 goes to this toroidal transformer. So after that, it's kind of difficult to tell what's going on. But just looking at this, we have a noise source. We've got a common emitter amplifier that drives another common emitter amplifier. I don't know, looking from these components, which one should go where. So I think at that point, we'd probably have to try to find something online for like a noise bridge or noise source.
11 meter Jim. That's nice. Yeah, and so on the back, real quick, because they're going to ask, it says BAC-G, which is probably either the people that make the PCB substrate or the PCB house that made the board for them. 1201 again for the date, and then 94V-0, whatever that is.
Yeah, you're cutting out again. I think I'm having problems on my side. I had problems on conference calls today. So, but BAC stands for Bay Area Circuits. I've used these guys before. They're in Silicon Valley. Actually, I think at Fremont, because our office in Fremont is down the street from them for the place that I work. So it's kind of funny that.
Checking the echo now. Yeah, it's still there. Okay.
Is that coming from me?
I mute Jim and it goes away, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's from Jim. If you were having problems, it could be on your side. I just don't know.
Was I echoing? Okay. Is it just me, or is it
when I mute Jim, the echo comes back. But you yourself are not echoing.
Very peculiar. Well, I'm looking at a couple things. Let me check.
Blood alcohol content. I like the way you're thinking, Dave. All right, take it away, Derek.
So the other thing, so it in general with collector feedback, you'll see like the collector to base resistor will be like around 1/10 of the value, or sorry, like 10 times the value of the collector resistor. But we don't have common values here between the two stages, so I'm not entirely sure.
And according to the K7QO, that toroid is just a straight through wrap.
Is it?
And it's a FT50-43, which is what our guess was too.
And it's got the same two-stage transistor setup.
It's actually a 3-stage, and it's got BNCs on it. So like there's more to that kit, but it's the same basic schematic.
Because these three wires make me think that this is a tri-filar wound transformer, the way that it would sit.
Yeah, A1 goes to A2, B1 goes to B2, C1 goes to C2. But the windings just go straight around the core. See if it tells you the number of turns. 4 turns. Jody says he found the exact schematic in the Wayback Machine. Jody, is it the K7QO schematic, or is it, what would I use to search for that? Oh, you posted the link. Stephen did. Let's see if I can find that. Small Wonder Labs Noise Bridge. Oh, yeah, that is the thing. Oh, that's awesome. Posted the comment there. Let me share my screen out. Derek, can you see the stream screen from your desk there?
Yeah, so I don't have a monitor over here. It's going to be a little tough. Let's see.
It's called Traps Without Tears. Yeah, I'm still getting it, Jim. All right, so this kit, I dropped the link in into the comment section on YouTube, but this is the noise bridge instructions. We've got the schematic on the screen. The circuit board looks exactly the same. And so my guess, I thought that the 9-volt battery power was going to go through that little connector clamp, but that looks like it is like a coax source. I haven't gotten that far down. And then we just have an unknown item at the bottom that we need to check out.
Okay.
And it says it's an FT37-43.
37.
4 turns, trifuller wound on 3743.
Okay.
K1 SWL sounds right.
I switched mics. You guys hear me okay now?
Yes, sir. And since Derek switched, Jim, try and see if that would solve the problem with Derek switching his mic.
Can you hear me okay? Echo?
Yes. Yes, I can
yes,
hear you.
I
hear you.
think I found the problem. I
Still
recorded
need
a
to
video.
fix it though.
Huh?
You still need to fix it though.
I fixed it.
I'm getting an echo still. You don't get the echo, but I do.
You're getting an echo.
Yeah. So when you talk, you don't echo. When I talk, I echo through your system.
And I hear an echo too. So that looks exactly like the schematic, doesn't it?
It does.
How do I get to that link? Let's see. I'll print that out.
Let me paste it to you in the private chat. There it is. This is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I was thinking it's got to be either some kind of a voltage regulator or noise source. And that cap is a dead giveaway. Okay, let's see. Cool. How do I print it?
But we're getting farther down the rabbit hole than we ever got before.
Yeah, we are. I think we can. Well, now that we have this, I think we might.
Well,
be
yeah,
able to
because
put
this tells
thing
you
together.
the resistor parts and capacitor parts values.
Yes, it does. All right, I'm going to print that out and let's see if we can do something with this. Maybe we can solder it together. Unless you want it back and you want to solder it.
No, go ahead and put it together. Let's see how far we can get.
Does it say? Oh, it says 4 turns, trifather wound, observe phasing.
I think when they say observe phasing, they just want you to keep, wire 1 connected to wire 1 on the opposite end. Because sometimes they'll have you switch. So A1 goes to B1, and then B1 loops all the way through and goes to C1, but he's got that done inside the circuit board.
Yeah, okay. So they're the 2 phasing dots on the schematic. There's no phasing dot on the first winding. Let me get that printout. All right. So who found this? I owe somebody a beer.
Let's see. I think it was Steve. It was Steve AI5BH.
Okay, cool. All right, let me switch back over to the bench, and now that we know what these things are, maybe we can put this together. All right. Desk cam. Let me switch back to the other mic.
Okay. Carlos is right. This is the kind of ham nuggets we live for. This is where it gets to be exciting because I had no idea what the circuit did. There wasn't enough identifying marks on it, and I don't have the big brain like Derek does. So I was just trying to figure it out. Hey, Chuck.
All right, I'm switched over. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Faxed him that schematic, so he got it.
All right, so can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, heck, I guess. Let's see. It looks like it to me.
It looks exactly like it. I mean, if you look at the circuit board below.
Okay. Yeah. So
board featured 2002 March QST. Nice.
So I'm going to find out who K1SWL is. But Noise Bridge.
Mr. Benson.
So, yes, David Benson. Is it David?
I don't know.
All right, let's see. So it looks like for Noise Bridge, you connect your unknown impedance to this terminal, right? Antenna or filter or something, and then you would connect your radio to the receiver side, and then just spin your VFO until you hear a null or until the noise dies down, and then you know that you're on the right frequency. So I guess with nano VNAs, this is kind of old school, but still would be kind of nice to have around the shack. So
David Benson, you were correct.
Is it, David? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these out. And I'm not going to use a wrist strap or ESD protection because it's 80% humidity here.
Yeah. My 10% humidity, I have to really worry about that.
You know, you were at Hamcation, right? So.
Oh, yeah. I have 100% humidity laying on the ground. I have feet of humidity.
I saw the picture of you on your tractor.
That was crazy, man.
How much snow did you guys get?
Well, it snowed from about 11 a.m. on Saturday until about 8 or 9 p.m. on Sunday. And we got at least another 8 inches. But then there's all the wind drifts because the part where the tractor was actually 3 tractors wide, but I can't make it 3 tractors wide anymore. I got no place to put it. Oh, okay. You're going rogue, man.
I'm going to leave the resistors. I want to leave these partially in because, you know, we're live here.
And you can zoom out a bit too.
I wish I could. Oh, I can.
Yeah, because you zoomed in.
I changed lenses. So there we go. 27 over there, 10 nanofarad here. I'll keep those resistors. I don't have a 9-volt battery on me, but got a power supply there. So let's see. This is exciting. So I don't know if we'll be able to test it. I got my spectrum analyzer, but I don't know if I have anything that I could solder to the board. Crank up the light just a little bit. Does that look all right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to grab this guy. Maybe this will be helpful. Maybe it won't. Stick vices are pretty good tools for doing stuff like this.
I've never used one of those. I'll have to see how it works out for you.
Oh, these are great. I got the Teflon tip. You can replace these with Teflon little grippers in case you do any hot air work.
Nice. So they don't melt on you.
Yep. So I'll start with the transistors first. So these obviously have to be the right polarity. Pop this guy in at the same time. Did Jim get it sorted out?
He's not back yet. I haven't heard from him. And he just showed up.
I don't know. Is it working?
Is it working? Yes. No.
Echo.
Nope. Nope. Change your computer audio to go to your headset.
It is.
Okay.
It wasn't echoing before the show.
No, it just started like halfway through.
You log back out and log.
Do I have an echo now?
Do you have an echo now? Yep.
Let's see if we can use this fatter solder and do this a little quicker.
What kind of solder are you running, Derek?
We've got...
It seems to be gone now. No, Jim's muted. That's why.
Hold on here. Sorry, folks. Kester.
The 6337?
6337, yep.
Awesome. That's the kind that I use. That's the best kind.
These are side cutters.
On a long shot, I sent David a message to see if he wanted to join us on the stream. That would be awesome if he did.
All right, now we can put the Zener diode in. I don't think that thing's helping very much, so let's do it old school.
Device.
Yeah.
When circuit boards get to be that small, the thing that I worry about is when I start to, like, you have solder in one hand and soldering iron in the other hand, and then you're pushing it to the board and the board walks away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
But then any bigger board, I don't use them. And most of the boards I work with are bigger. See you later, Dan. Oh, he's got the fume extractor too.
Well, that's just my desk lights. The power supply is complaining because I cranked it up too high. So I switched all of my overhead lights for videos from AC to straight DC because it was creating this flicker across the screen.
Yep.
And that's an unfortunate side effect. So let's check the schematic.
Lighting for videos.
Got our semiconductor devices in. 1, 2, 3, 4.7K for the Zener diode.
Holy moly. That Hacko Omni device is some expensive stuff too. $76.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It holds a corner of the board, and then you can kind of quickly remove it, flip it over, stick it back in.
Which resistor is in R2? ADD kicking in.
No component former, Derek? Shame.
So this is not really flowing in there very well.
Or heat.
So yeah, we were talking about this during your soldering video. A good thing to have is some chip quick in a syringe. If it's not flowing, you have old solder joints, or corrosion on the component leads. You just hit it with some of that, and it cleans it right up.
Oh, there you go.
It's a lot better. So this thing's probably been sitting around forever.
Yeah, so the solder that Derek's using has flux core in it. So I normally don't wind up using any flux when I do my builds.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, you dropped out. So you were saying about the solder I was using is the 6337?
It's got a rosin core inside, so I don't really use flux unless there's something very difficult that I'm working with.
Yeah, and after you're done with boards, if you're going to have them hanging around for a couple of decades, it's a good idea to clean the old flux off after you're done soldering, or else it is slightly acidic and it'll start eating away at the traces eventually. So let's go ahead and put C2 in.
Belts and suspenders, I can respect that, Carlos.
So who else is in the chat over there? I heard you said Chuck is there?
Yeah, Chuck showed up. We have about 100 people watching right now, so no pressure.
The pressure is on.
What type of capacitor do you recommend with your flux? I prefer the tantalum kind. They taste a little bit better.
Just don't hook them up backwards.
The electrolytic has kind of a fishy taste.
All right, so we got that boiling. Let's do R3 as 22K. Could have used this for a soldering tutorial video.
Oh, yeah.
So this is another reason why I wear gloves, because I can't stand this flux. Yeah, this is kind of old stuff.
So this is basically an old-fashioned way of checking your antenna to make sure that it's resonant before you plug it into your radio, or tuning up your antenna by providing noise.
Yeah, and then you just tune your radio across where you think you're about where your antenna is tuned or whatever, and you should hear a null. You should hear the noise drop down. I believe because the antenna is absorbing that portion of the RF and basically retransmitting it, right?
Mm-hmm. It's going somewhere. It's not bouncing back.
I think you dropped out again.
Okay. I think it's just on your side that it's dropping out.
I think you're right. R4 is 1.5K. This is going to be done pretty quick, I think. I think the transformer is probably going to give me the biggest headache.
I'll wind that for you while you're soldering in parts.
Appreciate it.
And that's not magnet wire on that transformer. That's just regular wire.
Yeah, it is just, I guess, some of the kind of wire you'd see on like a hard drive cable or something.
Marvin's asking if anybody has called you Boom. He's making a joke about your name.
Boom.
Derek.
What's that?
Crane. Derek. Boom. Crane. Boom. Construction humor. Play on words. And Jody says, a caution that seems important from the PDF. It's critical to make the leads from the unknown terminals on the bridge to the traps as rigid as is practical.
As rigid as practical.
Okay. I'm not sure how you would do that.
I'll do my best to make them rigid.
So Chris has just joined. Chris is asking, what are we making? And that was the question. That was the whole point of the show is what are we making? And we actually found out halfway through and we found the original schematic and we found that it was in a QST article in March 2002. This is a noise bridge. Still have the echo, Jim. And it is a way to test out your antenna. Make sure your antenna is resonant closer to resonant before hooking it up to your transceiver.
Yeah, so a lot of different ways to do that, right? Before everybody got a VNA.
Test.
Are we echoing now? Doesn't sound like it. All right, welcome back, Jim.
I turned on echo cancellation in StreamYard. I'm not sure why it's echoing. This is the same settings I used yesterday.
We hear you now. No echoes. So here's another way that you could have measured a tank circuit or resonance of an antenna. The grid dip meter. So basically you turn this guy on, you can sweep the frequency, and wherever the needle drops down, you have a null, and that tells you where it's resonant at.
Nice.
Or
I think the music is Steve, Carlos. That is not me.
Yeah. It's me. I wanted to play some fancy music while Derek was soldering.
all right.
So we found the thing, and I missed all this drama because StreamYard is being stupid. And also, y'all, I switched from a Mac to Windows over the weekend.
He wanted to be like me.
No, my Mac is older. Is old. It's on it's one day probably. Anyway, I'm still fighting doing all this with Windows, which is different.
Man.
So did his schematic he was working on, did that match up with what we found?
Yeah, we just didn't get as far as the toroid.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got up to about here, and then this was kind of a mystery.
There's a lot of
on the
things
right
in
path.
my life that are mysteries. Mixers and StreamYard apparently are one of them. I feel your pain.
All right, so C5 101.
So the question that I was running into was, how do you know which resistor goes in which hole if you don't have the instructions that we just found? Like, how would you kind of reverse engineer that to figure it
That's
out?
exactly right, which is kind of why I was going down the road. The collector resistor is 10 times less than the base resistor. You really have to know how transistor circuits are biased, BJT circuits are biased. And even then, you'd have to draw out the load line and figure out the saturation current and where it's biased halfway between the supply voltage. You'd have to bust out some math.
So the other way that I thought about doing this is to get a decade box and then just plug it in and start twisting until stuff works. But there's so many of them there, you need a lot of decade boxes.
That would be really hard to do.
And there's so many variables. And that
Right.
particular bias that they're using, this collector feedback bias, is only usable over a certain range within those values before you start cooking things. And once you heat that transistor up, the current gain of the transistor changes also, which is going to shift everything. So I'm not sure that we would have gotten very far without the schematic.
Now, is there anything, and this may seem like a stupid question.
There are no stupid questions.
Asking that girl what her name was, that was a stupid question, believe me. That one time. If you were trying to troubleshoot this or decide what these parts were for, is there anything that you think you could set up and use an oscilloscope for to see what's going on, or we're not even to that level really yet?
Well, we figured out it's a noise bridge, so we could look at the broadband noise on the scope. And I actually have another noise source. If I don't have a connector for that, for this board,
I got it, Abe. Thank you.
I could connect that one.
Ape has found us the QST article. I'm going to bring that up on the screen
really?
while Derek is busy
got it, buddy.
soldering. Okay. Jim's going to bring it up on the screen.
I've been slacking off, man. I'm trying to atone.
What was the date on the QST article?
March
2002. Asking her name at breakfast, Jim? Yeah, that's worse. Give everybody nicknames.
Right. Well, this one time at band camp, you know.
That way you can't give them all the wrong names. And this advice came from my ex-wife's mother. She says, I just call everybody dear.
Well, yes. I have used baby frequently because they always answer to that no matter what their government name is. Let's see.
I mean, a lot of these
Guys,
parts.
no,
are really
I know
obvious
there's a lot
where
of
they went.
Windows hate out here because Steve has been complaining endlessly about his Windows out of box experience the last 3 or 4 days.
It's my
And
job.
I gave him grief for it. And I've been using Windows forever. And I use Macs forever. But man, using a Windows box as my daily driver, just trying to figure out, okay, I'm so used to all the way things work on a Mac, and then having to switch my brain over to Mac or to Windows from Mac is exciting. Like Alt Q on a Mac is an application, and Alt Q on Windows goes into search.
Or the one I keep pressing is the like voice narrator key somehow. I'm like, I don't
Oh,
want you to
yeah.
talk to me. You gonna share that screen out, Jimbo?
It took me forever to get switched over to Mac, and then using Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, all the hotkeys, and then I switched over to Windows because I got a faster machine with a video card. That made a huge difference with rendering. But man, the shortcuts and everything.
Yeah. I have Windows machines here, and I have a Mac here, and the Mac has been my daily driver at home for 15, 16 years, and I've had one at work for almost that long. And I mean, I'm not crippled in Windows. I use Windows all the time here too, but just not as a daily driver. It should be shared there, Stephen. Yes, okay. Do you need
On the
that
screen,
bigger? Is that still
I
pretty?
do. Zoom in on it. There you go.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can actually read it. I can make that bigger.
Oh, does it tell us how to wind the transformer? 4 turns.
Yep. 4 turns, trifilar wound, observe phasing. It says the exact same thing as before.
Okay, let's do it.
But I really think the phasing is baked into the circuit board because that was what my
I think they're saying
continuity
just
testing revealed.
basically don't twist the wire, right? So
Right.
I should probably strip this first.
I gotta say, I applaud the ARRL for putting all their issues of QST online. It's great to be able to find this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that a lot of it says that it's not online. I don't know if you've run into that.
I have not. I hate magazines. I hate paper magazines.
I mean, I've gone back to Jim, I think you're cutting out, but I can hear it's Tio's music.
The music's coming right from StreamYard.
Oh, there's something weird going on. All right. Yeah, some of the articles on QST, it says that they're not available. I don't know what that's all about.
I haven't hit that.
That's 1, 2.
All right, folks, if you are on the Toads Discord, there's a link at the top of the chat over there. In the Nuggets channel, I posted the QST article, QST March 2002, page 29, directly from the Smokin' Ape. So
I think
look at that at your
Ape
leisure.
has a direct link into ARRL's website because he can find all sorts of articles on QST.
He's been downloading QST magazines since before the internet. Right. He was getting them off of Usenet.
What he's saying in the chat,
block at a time.
he's team paper. I think he downloads them and prints them all out.
Has them in binders organized neatly on the shelf.
I guess that's right. So I got the green on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Green is on the right.
Yeah, so I'm thinking
I cut it?
keep green on the, green on the top left goes to
go like
the top right.
Top left goes to the top right. Okay, so then it has to be phased this way. All right, I'm going for
it. No, we don't have these printed on PCBWay. I don't actually have the Gerber files to make this. This literally just showed up in a box full of random stuff.
Based on the cutoff frequency of that transistor, it's probably only usable for HF. So I'd imagine you could probably just take this schematic and make the board up pretty quick.
Steve, you made a PCB before, right?
No, I am really close to I really want to, but the learning curve is steep, super steep. I've had a PCB made for me, but I have not made the PCB.
Oh, I
myself.
thought you did the design on it.
I came up with the concept, and then I hired somebody smarter than me to make the design.
Okay.
Because in order for that thing to handle the 45 amps going through, the traces, the copper traces embedded in the circuit board need to be a certain width. And that's just one piece of math. Plus there's all of the positioning and everything.
So Lee mentioned carbon composite. Is that what you mean, Lee? Carbon composite resistors? There's so much stuff in electronics that go beyond the basic component name. And I'm forever learning some new term having to do with electronics. Capacitors alone, there's 4, 5, 6 different varieties of capacitors. It's not just a capacitor. It's an electrolytic. It's a silver mica. It's a whatever. Same with diodes.
They've all got different advantages. Like tantalum capacitors have a large value of capacitance per their size.
Okay.
Ceramics are good. Like these are general purpose. What else?
When would you use an electrolytic, the can style?
So if you need, again, like a large value of capacitor, they're a good option for like power supplies filtering.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Let's put these in one by one.
My first experience with a capacitor was out of an old flash camera back in the 70s.
Oh yeah, that'll give you a little jolt.
It didn't shock me, but it scared the living crap out of me when
they pop. Yeah.
When I fired the flash and it wasn't plugged into the camera, right? Or on a battery. And I touched the shiny parts and I
used to do product photography when I was going to school, and we did a shoot for Narragansett beer.
Awesome.
And the capacitor bank exploded in our rig.
Oh man.
That'll wake you up.
If you guys watch Electro Boom, any of you guys? It's not released yet. It's for Patreons only at this point, but he's got a great capacitor video coming out. And if y'all do not watch Electro Boom, you need to watch his channel because that man's hysterical.
All right, so I don't have a 9-volt battery, so I'm just going to connect some leads out here that I can connect to my power supply.
Nice.
Just fudge it for now.
Moto Yoda, Electro Boom is my spirit animal, right?
Yeah,
And you know, every video of his I watch, I know there's going to be some surprise spark happening, and I'm always surprised.
yeah, when my kids are watching electronics nerd stuff, you know that it's entertaining.
Right.
Otherwise, they don't want anything to do with it. All right, so that goes to the receiver. Let me see what I have for wire around here. Do we have another commercial break?
We can make that happen. I have watched AVE off and on. He's not my cup of tea. Some of his stuff is pretty funny. I love his style of delivery. It's absolutely hysterical.
I don't know where he comes up with that stuff.
I know. This here video. Let's see.
Hey guys, this is Jim from Coffee and Ham Radios, and I wanted to show you a couple things that we're very proud of. First up is our signature Coffee and Ham Radios stainless steel tumbler. This is the 30-ounce double wall vacuum insulated stainless steel tumbler designed to keep your hot beverages hot and your cold beverages cold. It has a hard plastic lid. This is a tight fitting lid and is designed to not come off in the event of a catastrophic tump over of your beverage. This will keep things warm for quite a while. This is an everyday driver for me. My coffee gets poured in this at the house, and an hour and a half later, I'm still drinking hot coffee at work. The lid that goes on has a rubber seal to keep from leaking. And these tumblers come with a unique lid that has this safety latch that you can pop back and lock in place to take a drink of your beverage and then put it back, latch it down, and nothing is going to spill. So even if this thing gets knocked over at field day, nothing is going to spill out. These come with a sticker from Arctic, which is where we got these made at. These are excellent tumblers. I highly recommend. The other thing we have to show you is our Coffee and Ham Radio sticker pack. The sticker pack comes with 5 stickers, at the center of which is the beautiful Coffee and Ham Radio's logo, followed up by, in no particular order, Temporarily Offline, FEP Labs Radio, KK6USY
right
Ham Radio Adventures, and of course, it wouldn't be complete without the Smokin' Ape. These are available also on our website. Both of these can be purchased there. The tumblers are $25. The sticker pack is $15. Please go to www.coffeeandhamradios.com to get these or any of the other ham essential products that we have available.
All right, Derek, you're back.
All right, so I'm just firing up the power supply. I'm going to try to get 9 volts.
That doesn't look janky at all.
No.
No danger. Your
Close
power
enough.
supply doesn't have a readout on the front?
All right, we got ourselves 9 volts. We'll put that over there. And we'll have to see what kind of RF connectors I have because I didn't think that we would get this far.
Yeah, we're not even we're only at the hour mark. This is kind of pretty awesome for us.
I thought that we'd get stuck on the
No
transformer.
smoke yet.
We ain't fired anything.
Even
yet.
I have a personal record of 2.5 hours trying to make D-Star work.
Oof. D-Star? What y'all using D-Star for?
Nuggets.
Because it was there.
I used it since.
System fusion.
We just play with stuff here.
I should have used
Usually
a
stuff we know
conical-
nothing about.
conical tip. All right. So I think the broadband noise should be sent out through the unknown port here. It's tapped off the trifather transformer, goes through this 27 picofarad capacitor, and our broadband noise should come out of the end of this. So we've got juice. And I guess we can do a smoke test.
Well, there have
Good.
been a couple comments about releasing the magic smoke or letting out the angry pig.
Oh, Jim, you can't hear you.
Theo, can you hear me?
It's Derek. Yeah,
It's
Derek.
me. I can hear the music, but I can't hear you guys talking sometimes.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on. So what were the comments?
Well, they're just interested in is there going to be magic smoke or are we going to release the angry pixies?
Well, let's take a quick look over here. The transistors are in the right way. The diode is in the right way, I believe. Yeah. So let's try it.
That's V minus.
V minus,
It's weird that they put the power connectors so far apart.
V plus.
How?
Yeah, see, on Electro Boom, that would have exploded.
All right. So I'm going to turn that off for right now. Put the solder away.
Chow. I heard that chunky power switch.
Oh, yeah. The old Hewlett Packard supply from the 70s. Those are best era. All right. So
So there's a variable resistor and a variable capacitor on that board.
does it say what that is? I'd imagine it would be like some kind of fine tuning or something.
Yeah.
Is anybody reading the QST article?
No, I'm busy watching what you're doing.
So
Let me read. What am I looking for?
How do we use this thing?
He's cutting out again. You know what? I've got a type N, which is the same on my spectrum analyzer. You can probably
Do you have
just
one of
use-
those Cobra Head BNC binding post adapters?
No. I think if I just go to BNC and use an oscilloscope probe, we should be okay.
Okay, the QST article is talking about connect a 100 ohm quarter watt across the unknown terminals and connect your receiver with a length of coax. Apply DC power 8 to 15 volts to the noise bridge circuit, and you should hear a loud rushing noise in the receiver.
No.
So those two wires right next to the toroid, the two vias right next to the toroid,
Yep.
is for an antenna.
For the to connect to your receiver.
Yes.
Unfortunately, my power is connected to my truck, soldered into my truck, so my HF rig is not ready to go.
Connect your scope to that. We can just see it instead of hear it.
Let's see. Let me grab a probe.
See, Jim? See? I
I'm
said
proud
scope.
of you. I'm proud of you.
Hollywood
Yeah,
in the
there's
chat
some
says
controls in here.
T1 is
The
acting as a
R-
type of Wheatstone bridge. The R and C is aligned to show a null when the device under test is a dummy load. So that's the next thing we need is a dummy load. That was the 100 ohm resistor across.
I believe so, yeah.
Let's-
And now we're talking about Electro Boom's Unibrow. Electro Boom's Unibrow. I got his name wrong.
All right. Let's see what we can do
that's
here.
Hollywood. Hollywood, what's up, buddy?
All right. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Let me try to rearrange my camera here so I can show the spectrum
Welcome amongst
analyzer.
yourselves.
Element 14 didn't send you one of them fancy key sites?
No, man.
How come James gets all the cool stuff, man? You have to make yours.
He does his test gear stuff.
That is
right,
upside
can you
down
guys
if it
see that?
matters.
It's upside down.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
We're going to do it live, folks.
We're doing it live.
The camera's
That's not his.
the-
That's not his scope doing that flickering. That's the camera
No,
speed.
unfortunately, it's camera speed.
Yep.
So let me power up the board. And I will connect the probe. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
yeah, I see signal.
It looks like something, but it doesn't look like broadband noise to me.
I was going to say that looks pretty.
Pretty
It looks
good.
like a Baofeng.
Jumping
I
up and
mean,
down.
you've got the primary signal and then a lot of harmonics, but they're not even consistent harmonics.
No, they're not. So I've
Is
got
that
another.
is your band is your resolution too tight? Or are you sweeping too narrow of a range? Maybe.
No, that's the full range.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. There's some kind of fundamental going on there.
Yeah.
It's not looking right.
Are you
Yeah,
twiddling
jumped
the
up a bit.
knobs?
Yeah, I was going to say there was a couple of adjustable R1.
I might have to.
Oh, hey. That's a picture of him out in his truck, upside down. Hope we don't get to see anything that we don't want to see here.
Right.
You might see the project I was working on.
Yeah, Abe, he's
I'm
got the
not
probes
supposed to
on
show.
the unknown port. And then Hollywood saying, check
So-
the polarity on the noise diode.
No, it's right.
According to the silk screen.
All right, let me get my
Thanks, Phil.
adjuster. Let's see if this does anything. So I'm looking at the spectrum analyzer, and it looks exactly the same to me. There's nothing else changing.
And your probes are on the unknown or on the antenna
Yes.
port?
They're on the unknown.
Jim?
Yeah,
Yes,
put,
sir.
They're on.
put
Say
the
again?
probes on the antenna port.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks a little
Just
better.
saying, make sure you use a 1-to-1 probe.
I'm
Yep.
on 1X.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something wrong with this, I think.
Great.
It's jumping up and down. I can show you what it should look like, because I do have another noise source.
And then Lawnmower is asking if the age of the components could have an effect.
That's an excellent question. I was just thinking the same thing.
As far as resistors and capacitor, it is possible. The transistors. I don't have any 4401s. The other one it mentions is a 2N2222.
And then Jody's saying without the 100 ohm resistor, the output might be unloaded too much.
All right, let's see. Let me see if I have some resistors I can load that down with. So they're saying to put a 100 ohm resistor across the unknown port.
Yes. Right.
Yep.
All right, hang tight 1 second.
Steve, am I cutting out for you or is it just on Derek's side?
It's just on Derek's side.
Okay.
We're making some progress, though. This is pretty hot.
It's more than we figured out. And who dropped what this is? I think that was Jody, wasn't it? That was the
Jody dropped it. Steve dropped it. A couple of people
Yeah.
figured it out.
yeah.
But I actually put this on Twitter, and nobody on Twitter knew what it was. A couple people
Or-
thought it might have been like a Morse code practice oscillator or something like that.
Or they just didn't want to answer you.
Right. They just didn't like me.
I mean, it's possible.
Oh, look at you going hands free. So what they're saying, Derek, is that once you get this on, you should be able to tune that resistor and capacitor as the next step to get a, I forget what the instruction said. See if I can find it.
Well,
Hollywood's saying you should see noise on the collector on Q1 reference to ground.
let's see. Yes, it's what we were looking at before, but much smaller in amplitude, which makes sense. So I wonder if there's something wrong with the diode. I will say that adding this, I don't have a 100 ohm resistor, I have 120 ohms.
Close enough for ham.
But it does look different.
Adjust R1 for minimum S meter indication and then C1. Once these are both adjusted carefully, the noise level on the receiver should drop to its internal noise level alone. The noise bridge is now adjusted for a null. So that's the first thing we have to do is make that adjustment. But we don't have a receiver plugged in.
No, we do not.
So I guess you can use your scope for that.
Let's see.
Yeah, Ron, we have double check polarity. Didn't see you slide in here, Ron. Good evening.
It's dead, Jim. Well, we haven't breathed life into it properly yet. We're still getting there.
And just for the record, I would rather be on my Mac than a Windows machine. But I have a 2012 Mac Pro. It's a little long in the tooth.
We're getting to the point where it's like a lesser of two evils situation. You know, it's almost like voting whether you pick Mac or Windows.
Well, the problem I have with Mac, Steve and I were talking about this the other day. Problem I have with Apple is that Mac Pro I have is a 2012 cheese grater. And it's obsolete according to Apple. I mean, it's a 12-core dual Xeon machine. It's still a beast. I've got 32 gigs of RAM in the thing, and it runs just fine. But Apple has decided that their operating system doesn't officially support it anymore for some bullshit reason.
Yep, because they don't want it to. They want you to buy.
Because they don't want it to. They want me to buy the $5,000 Mac, the entry-level $5,000 Mac Pro. And I've managed to use OpenCore Legacy Patcher and wheedle it up to Monterey or Big Sur. I can't remember which one so far. Theoretically, it can do Ventura, but the day's coming when it won't. And I lived through the Apple G5 to Intel switchover when they abandoned all the G5 stuff. And now that Apple's got their own silicon out, they're going to do silicon. They got their own chips out. They're going to abandon all the Intel stuff in a couple of years. So it's just it's a shame.
On the wall.
Their OS is great. It works very well.
Yeah, I don't have offensive news in my start menu on Mac OS because number one, I don't have a start menu. Number two, they don't put news on my desktop. I want my computer operating system to be a utility knife. You know, I don't.
Brian, the Mac Pro is $5,000 out of the can. If you buy the new Mac Pro, it is $5,000 for the low end one.
Well, I'm not seeing anything but 60 cycle hum on the output.
Why you would even be seeing that?
How are we seeing 60 cycle hum on a DC circuit?
Probably from the power supply.
And then Hollywood saying, check the value of R2 and D1 polarity. You should see very weak noise in the scope at max gain using a 10-to-1 probe so it doesn't load D1.
All right, let's change it over to 10x.
And Lee is telling us to measure the Zener. So we have all sorts of helpful people.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to AC couple.
Yeah. Ken wants to sell you a laptop, Jim. Hey, Jim. Hey, Jim. Hey, buddy. You need a laptop? I got a laptop.
I had a MacBook Pro that got OBE from Apple for no reason. I hate it because I love my Mac, and with Parallels, it's awesome. But I'm tired of buying Mac hardware that gets obsoleted by Apple.
To be fair, 2012 is quite a while ago.
I'll try to show you across D1. I'll get my scope in here. How's that for live?
Look at
nice.
that fancy. Okay, we got a scope that is. I thought you had like an old Tech 465, something like that.
I do, but I can't fit it under the camera.
Well, that's a good point.
So that's what I'm seeing across the Zener diode right there. And we're on 10 millivolts per division. So we are seeing noise. So let's check across the output of collector of Q1.
Ooh, pretty.
And that
Mac Pro, not MacBook Pro. I have a 2012 Mac Pro. The new Mac Pros are $5.
Because we have to be pedantic on purpose.
Well, there's a difference between them. I think they were questioning my
there is.
$5,000.
Jim can spend his money any way he wants. Some of us go down to the local establishment. Jim goes to the Apple store.
I can stop anytime.
Right.
All right.
Jeremy wants to know what would be a good 50 watt or 100 watt beginner radio. Jeremy, you have 112 friends who are going to just give you every opinion you could ever imagine. Jeremy, we need to narrow that down a bit as to what you're trying to do, because when you say 50 watt, you might even be talking about VHF. Tell us about your ham goals, my friend, and we can help steer you in the right direction. We can help spend your money. What do you want to do with that radio? And I know I don't know is a good answer. Don't get me wrong.
And I love Mac OS. I think it's the most solid OS. Yes, it's better than Linux.
I'm resisting.
Because it's got driver support for everything. It's a great OS. It just works. I'm just going to say it.
So that's what I'm seeing across the output, 60 cycle sine wave. Let me put 50 ohm impedance on the front end of this scope.
And see what we
You
get.
can't buy just one radio. And James is starting the 11 meter FT8 debate again. We found that PSK Reporter has an 11 meter section.
Who knew?
I'm all in. I want to try that now. Scott, I was debating hitting that dump button, just getting him right out of there.
Well, it looks like we're seeing some noise with the 50 ohm jack on the front here. So I wonder if the high impedance input, we're just seeing that 60 cycle noise. So,
It is a noise bridge.
it's great noise. That's what it's supposed to be.
11 meter
there.
SSTV. Oh man, that's got to be epic. SSTV on the ham bands is
Bad enough.
R-rated.
Yeah. On the CB band, that's probably NC-17. You guys, I know you're not. It's fine. We argue about computer OSs like we argue about radios. Then Steve and I know that Yaesus have a drift problem, but other than that, they're fine radios.
I got one on my desk right now. Rocking the
sold mine.
FT818.
I sold mine to Ape.
Every radio is a good radio.
That's exactly true, and I have nothing.
The
wrong
2
with
days
Ape.
you celebrate the
Making
radio is the day you bought it and the day you sold it.
No, that's my boat. I need to get rid of it so I could buy radios.
They're giving you a lot of grief for not running it on a battery, Derek.
But he's got. Are you on an isolated DC supply? Or are you on the?
So
But Derek knows what he's doing. So
he
So
does.
this-
He's smarter than all of us.
Oh, like I said last time, all I do is poke a stick enough until it works.
That's right. That's right.
So it looks to me like this is the output at the receiver port. Oops. Can you guys see that? Hold on.
Yep.
At the output of that transformer, reference to ground, this is what I'm seeing. So I think it works. And if I adjust that potentiometer, it changes the amplitude a little bit.
So Jeremy's asking, he's getting his technician's license. I don't know why I pronounced that wrong. He's getting his technician's license and wants to get a radio to get started. So that would mean predominantly VHF, UHF in your area. And I'm going somewhere, so give me a half a second here. Check your local repeaters, check your local ham club, see what repeater system they're using and get a radio that matches that. So if they have a system fusion repeater, then you're going to want like a Yaesu FTM 200 or 300 or 500. If they have a DMR, then I don't know, like an Anytone would be a good radio to work with a DMR, or if they have D-Star, then ICOM would be your bet
Only
there.
choice. Yeah.
Now, you are in good luck because the solar cycle is just going crazy, and a technician has privileges to do digital modes and voice modes on 10 meters, and you would be very well served to get a good radio that does HF 10 meters along with everything else. You can listen on anything else, but you can transmit on 10 meters, and you can make contacts worldwide right now as a technician on a 10 meter radio. So that is as much as your wallet can afford. A G90 is a good place to start. It's got a built-in tuner. It's got a waterfall. It does 10 meters. But I don't know what your budget is. That would be the next question.
Yeah.
Anything less than 20 watts, I would hesitate to recommend. And you did ask for 50 or 100, so that would be ICOM 7100 would get you one radio that does everything.
Yep. That's a good one.
And
that's D-Star, the 991A, which several people mentioned in the chat already, which gets you HF and 2 meters and 440, and it gets you Fusion, which
has a color screen and a waterfall,
which is easier to use than D-Star out of the box for a newbie.
And DMR.
And easier to use than DMR. Yep.
Thanks, Jody. We'll see you later. I got to come up with some more mystery episodes. We do have a whole bunch of QRP kits that are in somewhat slightly better assembled states, too.
Well, I think it does what it's supposed to do. Generates noise. Unfortunately, I don't have my receivers. Did.
So you can do Fusion over HF. You can do D-Star over HF too, I think, can't you?
Yes, you can.
We should try that one day.
Yeah.
I got my 705 and my amplifier and my D-Star HF rig.
But the only thing I can D-Star over HF, I don't have anything that will D-Star over HF.
So is there any way we can demonstrate what this thing does? I know you showed it to us on the scope, and that was on the output ports.
Let's take a look at what on the spectrum analyzer, what the output looks like now. We've kind of loaded it, make sure that it has 50 ohms on the input.
Steven, right?
I saw
D-Star over HF, incoming 4-hour stream. That's right.
Yeah, I've got D-Star, but it's on the 9700. I don't have an HF D-Star setup. And you and I are not nearly close enough to try and do single sideband D-Star with 2 D74s, because that's the only other option I've got.
If you've got an HF D-Star rig, hit me up in the Nuggets channel on the Discord, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, 10 meter D-Star, that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, y'all, I've been lighting 12 meters has been on fire. On fire. I haven't even been messing with 10. Non-stop FT8 all day on 12 meters.
Hey, Derek, Hollywood's got a good point. He says, put a 50 ohm resistor on the receiver port. This will balance the bridge. Scope across the 50 and adjust for null.
All right, let me, might have a 49. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Nice, Shane. Shane worked the whole country on 10 meter FM using a NFED. Yeah, so the 705 will get you D-Star. The 7100 will get you D-Star, I believe.
Yes. That's right.
And then I need a 991A. So if anybody wants to send a 991A my way, I can do a Fusion stream.
I changed T.O.'s Lo-Fi Music Jam because I'm tired of hearing that song over and over.
It was so pleasant.
It was lulling me to sleep like a bottle of whiskey and a bottle of Nembutal, man. I was about to pass out.
The best thing for sleep is a whiskey and a baby bottle. No, Ken, I actually got the driveway plowed. I posted a picture in the Discord this afternoon when I was finished. The snow is up past the seat on the tractor. It's crazy the amount of snow I have piled up here. I'm literally barricading myself in.
It's going to be cold here tonight, man. It's supposed to be down to like 36.
It was below 36 when I Scout's got a 991A I can borrow for Nuggets episode. That's awesome. It was below 36 when I woke up this morning, Jim.
Yeah, I figured that. Now keep in mind, like Saturday, it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
A little cooler yesterday. Today, we only got into the 60s, and our overnight lows for the next few nights are going to be in the upper 30s, low 40s down here.
So Ken's asking, how many inches of snow do I get a year? And Ken, this is not an abnormal year for snow depth. It's the problem that we're having is it won't go away. We haven't had enough of a lull and enough warm enough temperatures between the snows for the snow to melt away. So it's just been adding and adding and adding and adding. And I have several 10-foot tall, 30-foot long, 12-foot deep snow mountains that I have built with my little 20 horsepower Kubota. This is my last winter, man. Done.
That's why I never moved back up to Kentucky.
Yeah, so Hollywood's saying the unknown port also needs a 50 ohm resistor. Once calibrated, the null only occurs when the unknown is R50 plus J0.
I missed that. You cut out. Hollywood said what?
Unknown port also needs a 50 ohm resistor. Once calibrated, the null only occurs when the unknown is R50 plus J0.
So, yeah, so now we have 120 ohm connected to it. And the spectrum analyzer has a 50 ohm input.
Oh, Carlos, that Kubota is already spoken for. Those things sell fast up here. Fantastic little tractors.
Scott, I grew up in Kankakee, Illinois.
Kankakee.
Or Zape says Kankakee. I grew up in Kankakee. I left home in 82. I lived there I was born in 62, so I was in Illinois for 20 years.
It's a BX23. I believe it's a 2370.
We get snow on the ground here in Alabama once every 5-ish, 6-ish years.
Yeah. BX2370.
Which is more than enough snow for me.
So the scope looks the same.
Ken, I am going to South Dakota first to get my domicile state, my residency, so I get rid of half the taxes that I have to pay. And then we're following weather.
Does this mean I can expect to see you looping through FEP Labs QT area?
Oh, yeah. Just not when it's 85% humidity and 85 degrees.
Well, that's any time from now on until probably Rocktober.
Yeah, but we'll be down there in the winter. I'll be a no snow bird. I will hopefully never see snow again. I will be up here during the summer because it's nice weather up here in the summer. Wisconsin summers are fantastic. Wisconsin falls are fantastic.
You actually have 4 seasons in the north. Down here in the Montgomery area, we have 2 seasons. We have summer and not quite summer. I mean, so far this winter, since Thanksgiving, we've probably had below 30 temperatures for a total of 5 to 6 days, not contiguously.
Yeah, we have snow, mud season, summer, and fall. Actually, I guess it's snow, mud season, spring, and fall. We don't really get summer that much, like maybe 2 days of summer.
Ham Radio Tectonics, all my peoples up there in Illinois.
Hey, Bill. More winter construction and stink bugs. Nice.
Oh my gosh, this is what no, Ape, I never talk about Montgomery Fire Department.
and him being a vegan CrossFitter.
Yeah, that's totally me. That's right. Ron's from Watseka, which is right down the road from Kankakee. Been
Jeremy's
through
in Rockford,
Watseka about
Illinois.
1,000,000 times.
So, Jeremy, I know of a Kenwood radio that is for sale that's got a fantastic inbuilt tuner,
Oh,
no
snap.
waterfall. Are you going to sell the FT8 setup with it too, Jim? For an extra price?
Hell, I'd throw it in at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about the DigiRig because it's got some other uses that I may use it for. At this current time, I have no use for it. And I never had really solid luck with it, so I'd hesitate to throw that in as a
Brian's installing Fedora while we're working.
Yes, I have a Kenwood TS570D that has been featured in numerous videos on this guy named, it's a little tiny YouTube channel, Temporarily Offline.
If my channel's tiny, what's that make yours, Jim?
Wee.
The 430 is already gone. The 570 is gone.
I have the 570 that Steve had on his channel. And I did a video or two with it, and I love it. It's a great radio, but I've got the Flex since then, and I just don't really have a use for it at this point. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It has a built-in tuner, and it does HF and 6 meters. Can Tex talk on 6? They can't do anything on 6, can they?
It can talk on 6, yep.
We can talk on 6?
Yep.
Yeah, 6 isn't open yet, but 10 meters is fire, man. Carlos Felix, DM me and we can talk about it.
And
You could get
Jeremy82,
more Mafia
same thing.
price,
Join us
Carlos.
on Toad's Discord, top of the chat, and check into the Swap Meet, the Swap Chats channel, because Jim doesn't like us talking in the Swap Meets channel.
People, I still got to do the thing like Josh has got set up, but I'm afraid because their guy said, "Oh, it's going to mess up all your permissions," and I don't want to have to listen to someone complain.
I know how to do that.
Well, Steve and I are both kind of the same mindset about IT stuff. You break it, you bought it, son.
Yep. That looks good, Derek.
Well, now that's a lot better than it was before.
So that's basically what I'm seeing with the 50 ohms on both of the receive and the unknown side of the bridge.
That's interesting, though. Why the big primary in the middle?
I don't know. I really don't know unless there's some kind of oscillation happening here on that frequency. I mean, that's...
What is that peak at, Derek?
Let's see, marker.
Oh, Jonathan's making potato leek soup. That is awesome.
It's at just under a megahertz.
You know, that almost looks like an AM signal.
That's full span. So, come on, man. So that's all that it's generating right there. Let's see. So it's generating this right here. .845 kilohertz.
What's the value of D1? You can confirm that whatever the breakdown voltage of the Zener is, that is what we measure on its cathode. Use scope in DC mode.
So
It's supposed to be a 6.3 volt Zener.
yeah, I think the one in this is 5.1. Let me try to get this back over here.
You didn't know you were going to have to do this much work tonight, did you, Derek?
I didn't know, man. I'm not really set up for live streaming, in case you haven't noticed. Well, let's see. what have we got here?
This will be 2 radios of mine that Carlos has if we can come to an arrangement here.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And this is the one that's got the shipping
Carlos
containers
has my
on it
old
too.
7300 as well.
Yeah, he got a good deal on that one. They both have IF taps. Apparently, that's the FEP Lab special.
Yeah, I put in the IF tap board on that 7300.
Jimmy, your Discord's going off.
Yeah, it's
2, 2, 4, 4 bolts across that.
see if I can make it quit talking.
Just so you can see what I'm seeing.
Now, Carlos, the 570 has a built-in IF tap in it. All you got to do is put a little 2-pin Molex connector on it.
And the random wire is saying if you're on Nuggets, the prerequisite is to not be prepared. And that is absolutely correct.
Well, I'm fitting
What
right
fun
in.
is it if we already know what we're doing?
That was Shooter Ready. Oh, well, his YouTube channel. That's right.
Yeah, I was trying
Yeah,
to give
so
him a
we
little
got
bit of
5 volts
promotion
across
there.
this guy.
I got that. But I was like, who's the random wire? Oh, that's Dave. That's right.
Yeah, he's got to go in and change his YouTube handle on this account too.
Y'all smash
So-
that like it owes you money.
Hollywood saying the D1 is good.
D1 is in fact good.
So tell us at home how you proved that it was good.
So
Whenever
let's
you
see.
get back. No rush.
So there is a bias resistor here, and as long as you're putting in more than the Zener knee current you find in the data sheet, I think it's VZ or IZK or something like that, then this bias will be in the, let's see, if I draw this out here. So this would be your current, this would be your voltage, normal diode starts to turn
Just went
on.
out of focus.
Oh. We are gonna do manual focus. Okay, so this is your current, this is your voltage on the x-axis. A normal diode will start to conduct at about 0.7 volts.
Right.
And there'll be some leakage currents that'll be slightly under here, but a regular diode will come all the way out here before it starts breaking down. A Zener breaks down early over here. So as long as you bias that diode with enough current, reverse bias, okay, any change in current will create a very small change in voltage. So this is where you're going to operate. So as a DC voltage regulator, you bias it somewhere along here. And you would read that since this is a 5-volt Zener diode, you measure 5 volts across it, which we are. And if you go over to DC to daylight on element 14, I did a video on that. So let's see.
We're just going to go through all the selections in the jukebox, Jim.
I just was tired of listening to the one. I mean, see, I thought that was Danger Zone for a second.
So I believe this is the diode that we're using today is the 1N5231. Minimum Zener voltage is 4.8, max is 5.35, and we're at 4.99, so we're pretty much in the typical value there. And as long as our current through the device is greater than 20 milliamps, we should be good. Oh, IZK, sorry, 0.25 milliamps, which is 250 microamps. So with that 4.7K resistor, we're definitely above that. So that guy's working. That transistor. I wonder. So we can go through some math on this biasing stuff if you want.
Sure.
Let's see. We can find out
Math
what
on stream. As long as I'm not doing it, I'm all for
I
it.
was going to say, I'm not. You count me out.
Let's see here. So I'm looking at the bias calculations for the collector feedback bias. Focus. So AC cent.
Who was that said they were looking for a radio? They're just getting their ticket and they're interested in a radio.
Jeremy.
If you are in the swap meet of Toads, there's a very nice looking Kenwood 2-meter 440 rig that if I played on 2-meter 440, I'd have already bought this. A Kenwood TMV7. This thing is beautiful. And a real good price on it, too.
All right. We got to do some dancing, Jim. Because
Oh.
Brian has sent in a $5 super chat. $5. He says his granddaughter wants to see the monkeys dance. We're going to dance because we're monkeys. It's even better to dance when there's like a beat.
Oh, look at Derek. Derek's got the finger dance going.
Get the jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, yeah, and Jeremy and my Kenwood would also be a great choice for a new ham, too, because the price is good. Honestly.
Anybody ever show up for the TS440? That guy?
No, he kind of disappeared off the radar. That's an interesting thought as well.
Jeremy, what is your username on Discord? I see Mini Mike Wright and I see Lee, but obviously you're not Lee. Maybe you are Lee. I just made an assumption that since you go by Jeremy on YouTube, that you probably don't go by Lee in Discord. Oh, Arnold Grubbs is a new member. We get a new dance. Thank you, Arnold.
Oh, sweet. Let me do my ape dance.
He looks very shocked when he does that.
He does. He looks like somebody's electrocuting
Jeremy
him or
Gruner.
something.
He needs some milk.
Oh, I see
Arnold,
it now.
thank you, man.
All right, cool. Let me get into the swap meet channel.
7.5 volts. So I'm just figuring out what voltage we're supposed to see across the collector resistor of Q1. 7.7 volts. I calculated 7.5. So let's see there.
Jim, it's probably been so long you need to repost that, Kenwood.
Yeah, I actually thought about that today. It's because of all you people talking in there and not posting pictures of your gear.
Jim is a cranky old man.
Oh, just, you know.
Alright. Let's figure out that.
Man, it is way back there. There it is.
You got, are you reposting it?
I'm just posting the link for Jeremy.
Okay. Thank you.
Jim is not that old. Carlos, Jim is very old. Jim is as old as you are short, Carlos.
1600.
Did you turn off slow mode?
No, it ages off, I think. But it is off.
Just FYI, Steve, I don't know if you've looked at the clock and it's 8:15.
It is 8:15.
Are we going too long?
I'm
No?
fine. I ain't got nowhere to go other than I want a cigarette, but
Everybody's riveted. Go ahead and light up in your house, Jim. The old lady won't know.
oh no, that don't.
So, Jeremy, right below the part where I sent you an @ call sign, there is a link that goes right to the 570 that is for sale. And that is a no. Why did that link to the wrong thing? I guess it just didn't like to link up far enough.
It linked to my 570 post. Oh well, it linked.
It didn't jump me.
It jumped me.
You do it again. Freaking
just repost
Discord.
I can do
Yeah,
that.
go ahead and repost it. That's weird. It jumps me up to the waterproof case for the 705. It's the right link. It just doesn't jump me far enough. Carlos says 4 dozen eggs. The bid is to you, Jeremy. Do I hear 5 dozen?
I don't know, fellas. I'm stumped. I think these transistors are working properly, but I'd have to figure out where these things are biased on the load line, which might be a little too much for the stream.
That's a Steve decision there.
What's that?
What your guest was talking. So it's like playing cards with my brother's kids, man.
Hey,
I
man,
got
been
like
there.
19 things going on over here, man.
Huh?
I'm trying to get somebody their general exam.
With my brother's kids or something. You nerve-wracking
You're
son of a
wrecking
bitch.
sons of bitches.
That is classic.
I need to go rewatch that movie. We should just rewatch that all together. We'll just have a Toad's tombstone party.
I have seen a lot of westerns, and that is by far my favorite western.
It is the best. What's going on here?
All right, Jeremy, I reposted that Kenwood right there at the bottom in swap meet.
Case does come with it.
Yes, it comes with a Pelican case. It will be shipped inside the Pelican case, inside some special cardboard.
And I don't host the show when I'm driving, but I have been known to stream from the car.
Have you ever angry streamed?
No. I don't get angry. In case you guys hadn't noticed that in the last 4 or 5 years of me doing this.
Yeah, no, I don't think I ever seen you cranky.
Oh,
and
cranky,
another
yeah, I
news,
can
Joe
do.
Exotic is
Angry, I
running
don't
for
do.
president.
What's that?
The Tiger King guy.
Oh, yeah. The Ratchet.
I thought he was in prison.
He is. Doesn't
Yes,
mean he can't run
he's
for
in federal
president.
prison. Okay. Well, that would be a first.
So there's a couple of things
Politicians starting out
to
from where
note,
you
Jeremy.
end up at.
Your first radio will not be your last radio, and the resale price on radios is fairly consistent with the purchase price. You do not lose a lot of money buying and selling radios. You lose money on shipping and selling fees, like on eBay. Liberty says, I seemed angry on today's bag video intro. I was perturbed. I was acting. That was acting. I'm more of a kiss and make up kind of guy.
Abe says he has a cousin that looks like the Tiger King. Hayden, good day, mate. Good afternoon for you, I guess. Was it like Wednesday morning or something in PK land at this point?
Yeah, he's that far in the future.
I mean, he is the ham from the future. I knew that, Hayden. I love messing with you. Tuesday afternoon in VK land. We're still suffering through Monday here in the US of A, brother. Yeah, I keep forgetting, Steve, that you and Hayden are streaming on Sunday afternoons. And I saw you boys did a FT8 video, so I need to watch that. I learned how to do FT8 from Hayden on video from, geez, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, probably 3 years ago. And I thought, is this kid old? Does his parents know he's on the YouTube? Because I don't think he had his beard then, and he looked so young.
Bill and Ted should have visited this moment in streaming time. That is true.
Right.
Ken says he can hear your gears turning, Derek.
Yeah, I'm calculating the voltages that we're supposed to see across these resistors, and it looks right. I'm supposed to be seeing 7 volts across the collector resistors, and I am. So I know the transistors are working. I'm seeing some noise at the output, but when I put it on the spectrum analyzer, I'm seeing that weird peak at like 800 kilohertz, which I don't really know why that's happening, I'll be honest. So
Wow.
I'm not sure what else I could do here. This works, this works, this works.
KA0NCR just dropped a link to Palomar Engineering in the Discord. Let me see if I can share that out for you real quick. I think it's that one. Yeah, it's that one. So this is excellent. If you guys recognize that, this schematic was done on a typewriter using the Courier font. This is fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
It's got a 1N5227 Zener. It looks like it's got an on-off switch. That's nice. 470. It's got a trifler wound center tapped toroid. And then it's got the resistor and the capacitor of a known value instead of an unknown value. And then on the unknown side, it has a 70 picofarad capacitor. I can see what this is doing. Cool.
Yeah, so it looks like that's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why this thing is acting weird.
Just a commercial product. Measurement of inductance and capacitance. Ah, yes, the days before spell check, Steven says. And that's the British spelling of capacitance. It was spelled correctly. Capacitance. Do you see the code PC load letter? Derek, are we going to take this thing out back and shoot it? That schematic is in young people font, yes. Ooh, dark mode for WSJTX. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I love dark mode. That was what I was talking to T.O. about that earlier. I've got Chrome on Windows now, and it's all in not dark mode, and all this white screen is killing me. I feel like I'm getting radiated. I'm getting 5G waves off this.
I think mine just follows Windows.
Maybe I need to try that.
because I have Windows set to dark mode. Because there is an appearance section, but that wants you to download a theme, and I ain't interested in all that now.
I ain't about that life.
So, Derek, my friend, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? Guess we don't need to know.
I think he's digging out more parts. Oh, there it is. Oh my God, thank you. That is lovely. Except Chrome is still white.
Well, I think StreamYard defaults to white. So you'd have to edit the
Maybe
StreamYard
that
CSS.
may be it. Yeah. Well, no, YouTube is still white too.
Well, YouTube's got its own setting.
Let's see.
You back now, Derek?
I'm back. I'm going to see if we can connect my vertical outside to this thing and see what happens.
Oh, we got to stick around for this.
So let me make sure this connector is not shorted.
You know, Josh said somebody get you the flux capacitor, and when I read that comment, what was in my mind was the little lady in Austin Powers. You know, every time he'd say something, she'd yell out whatever he said. Get the sharks with lasers! Never mind.
This will work.
Get the flux capacitor!
Hold on now. Let's take this
Uh-oh.
guy off. Okay.
That's right, Dave. Hook it up to the turbo encabulator, Derek.
I'm sure this long twisted pair is probably not great, but
Well, you should still get the noise, right?
yeah.
Or do you
He's
think
gonna
with that
get
much
extra noise.
capacitance, it's jacking up the output?
It's HF, so probably won't be. Probably no
Okay.
big deal.
At AMRAD Podcast, we make our own binding post adapter.
That's right. All right, so unknown connected to my 20 meter, 40 meter vertical out back through about 80 feet of coax.
Perfect.
From my understanding, you're supposed to do this directly at the antenna, so
We'll wait.
get eaten by an alligator. Okay, so the input impedance of my spectrum analyzer is 50 ohms, so that should terminate the receiver port here.
Oh, they're getting excited because you're soldering with the power on.
Mhm.
Did you hear the big chunky switch go off there, Jeff? Oh, we got some overtime pay. That'll keep the lights on for another 5 minutes. Thank you, TJS. Click it, Jim.
Oh.
That's ground. Okay.
This is Sparta!
Thank you, TJS 1.0. Much appreciated.
Outstanding. I was looking at some of the memes Ryan has posted in a Discord, and it's no wonder the Discord bans Ryan. Just saying, if he's in the stream, I don't know if he is.
Okay. Connect that guy there. This guy here. I don't know. Let's take a look. Doesn't look good. Oh,
Oh.
So it looks like we're seeing about the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Did that peak change frequency, or is it just the span you've got set on the scope at the moment?
I think it changed a little bit. But we're seeing basically the same thing. You got that big fundamental right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We'll change the span to 5 megahertz. Now we're seeing harmonics.
Wow.
It is a noise generator. That looks like noise.
Yeah.
It should
And
be
there should
smoother
be
than that, though.
No.
Yeah. I would expect it to be peaks of
Well,
averaging out the same size.
it's kind of.
Joel, those aren't OJ gloves. These gloves fit.
I'm
Right.
not going there. Yeah.
I think it's been long enough time.
It's almost.
Yeah,
like
it's not too soon for those.
It's been what, like 30 years now? 40 years?
95. So
Yeah, wow.
28 years.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's take it out to 50 megahertz. Yeah. 25 megahertz. Some funky stuff going on here too.
Abe says we did a stream on a noise generator last May. That is correct. I think that one was already built, though.
Yeah, I think it was.
Was it this guy? One of these?
No?
Steve,
So-
wasn't it that one I sent you?
Yeah.
That was a signal generator, not necessarily
Signal
a noise
generator, yeah.
generator. I think it had a noise waveform on it.
Dwayne says it's presenting a waterfall of Steve's music feed. So Steve's asking if Dave Benson didn't take me up. The email address that he has posted on his QRZ page is incorrect. I got to bounce back. That's the Gazalda.
James, if you just joined us, we are. Tio had a kit of unknown provenance. So we have talked about this on the Discord for how long have you had that? Month?
Year and
It's
a
been
half,
several months. That he got from a silent key estate sale. And so none of us were smart enough to figure out what the heck it was. So that's why we brought in Derek, who is our hitter, our pro from Dover.
And Derek knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
The second he started drawing the schematic, he's like, part 1, part 2. Oh, I know what this is. Done. Like, could you get to the rest of the 37 parts, please?
Now we can't get it to do what it's supposed to do.
And so it's a noise. It's supposed to be a noise generator, but it is not exactly a fully functional noise generator at this point. And Dwayne, you need to Google SMA board
Right angle
connector
adapter.
or SMA bulkhead connector, something like that. And it should be available on Mouser or DigiKey. They're probably on Amazon too. I think that's where I got mine, in a bag of like 5 or 10 for a few bucks.
Was he talking about the right angle adapter that goes to the SO239? Or is he talking about the...
They're all on Amazon.
PCB
I mean,
board.
I don't know what SMA. I assumed the one on the board, maybe the right angle one. Yeah. Yeah, those part numbers. I don't know what parts Derek has there, but if you get on Amazon and search around for SMA right angle adapter, you'll find every flavor of one available. I have a ham trivia question for you people, all of you,
Uh-oh.
and I'm hoping that somebody can tell me an answer that makes sense. Why? Well, let me back up. I was hoping I have an example. I don't have one here. The standard computer plug that is on the back, that goes in the back of PCs and stuff, goes in the
Yeah.
back of oscilloscopes and spectrum analyzers.
The
That is
power
an-
cable.
Yeah, that's an NEMA 110 style connector. It has a name and a part number.
Yeah.
NEMA, whatever, National Electrical Mechanical Association or something. I don't know what that means. Whatever. But it's the same part. And there's an NEMA 110P, which is the plug, and an NEMA 110 socket, I guess. I don't know exactly. My question is, as far as ham radio goes, why in the hell is it an SO for socket 239 and a PL 259? PL for plug, SO for socket. I got that part. Why isn't it the same damn number? One of the most confusing things when I got into messing with RF was people refer to them either way. You'll have guys that call everything a PL 259 even though it's the socket side, or vice versa. Well, why isn't it the same dang number? It should be an SO 259 and a PL 259.
So I have two different answers for you, and none of them are correct, I'm sure. But I was told that it's the 259 because the 258 before it didn't work very well, or it is the measurements of the connector itself. And Hollywood says because the Army used those part numbers. Yes.
Metric diameter 25.9 and 23.9. I might buy that RQ. If I had one in
Perhaps if
front
you
of me,
had a
I would whip
caliper.
out I'd whip out my measuring dingus.
Whip it out, Jim.
So this is what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's there you go. That's what I expected to see too. Right.
So this is with the good one that I'm using. This is with it off. And this is all the noise that it should be generating.
Everybody saw you keep it in your pants, Jim.
Don't whip it out. Talking about my micrometer, not my willy.
So we're way micro.
Ah! Oh, yeah.
You opened the door on that one.
I kind of did.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
It gets easier for me to say which one is which the more often I use it.
I just the metric thing. I'm going to have to check that because that actually makes the most sense of anything I've ever heard.
Steven's saying, now someone find the QST where they posted the fix to this kit. The editorial follow-up 2 months later.
Oh, ape. There you go.
Page 72, small print, third column,
Right.
bottom right. In our March 2002 issue of QST magazine, we improperly told you to use a 6.3 volt Zener diode, and we meant a 5.1 volt Zener diode. We apologize for any inconvenience this caused you. Of course, you got like 9 million hams just struggling, beating stuff up. You cause divorces.
This some bitch don't work.
I don't know, man.
Well, Derek, it is a valiant effort.
I'm kind of sad. This would have been cool to put in the box, you know?
You know, Derek, you're going to figure out what this thing does 5 seconds after we end the stream.
So this was really a Morse code key oscillator.
Right?
It just uses random noise when you put these two wires together.
It is not the metric thing, Marvin says. Marvin says, I am wrong. Marvin, I will take that.
Well, fellas, I don't know. I'm going to have to stick a fork in this one.
All right. Well, we made some progress. We figured out the original. Derek, come back on the front screen.
Oh, yeah, sure. Give me about half an hour to switch my microphone.
Yeah, sure thing. We figured out who the original manufacturer of this kit was. We figured out when you could get it. We figured out what time frame it came out. We put most of the parts on the board. We believe they're in the right spaces. I believe that we need to go through the calibration procedure and put some proper connectors on it and get some extra stuff that didn't come in the bag with the dingus. Not that it was missing, just that it wasn't designed to be used in 2023 by 2023 hams like us.
And the crowd, Derek, the crowd loves you, man. They want you back. Hollywood says you need a medal for this stream.
It's a spark gap transmitter. I can hear it all
Derek's
the way
probably
over
not
here.
he's probably away drinking right now because this We've traumatized him with this thing.
Oh, two military departments, the PL group and the SO group. The PL group took 259 attempts to get it right, but the SO group only took 239 attempts. So that was my first
hello.
guess. The second one was the metric. All right, I can hear you now. We just need to switch your camera.
All right, let's switch to webcam. Oh,
Hey, there he
man,
is.
A little sweatier than I was when I started.
It's all right.
You didn't know you was gonna have to work tonight,
I
right?
didn't know you're going to put me to work, man.
Listen, dude, the crowd loves you. We've got a lot of positive comments floating in here about, you know.
Oh, good, because I couldn't see anything.
And I do have to say, as being a watcher of the show tonight, it is much more fun to watch this show than it is to be in the Derek hot seat.
Right. Especially, and I don't know how you are about it, but when you have 110 of your closest friends offering their opinions all at the same
Telling
time.
you what to do.
Well, it was helpful because I wouldn't have thought to put the loads on there to balance the bridge on a live stream. Maybe
Yeah.
sitting by myself. But.
Well, I think that's the next step is to go through the QST article and do the calibration procedure.
Right.
And then that might be something useful. So maybe we can, if you do figure that out, we can have you back on for a much easier going Nuggets episode and you can demonstrate how it actually works. And then, after that 5 minutes is over with, we'll have to figure out something to do for the next hour and 25.
Yeah. And I need to figure out why this audio keeps freezing up.
Are you running through a USB mic or a interface?
I've got a USB mic here and USB headset over there, and also USB mic on that side too. So I don't know. Strange.
Right.
And we got to do a giveaway on the TS440 also.
We have to re-give away that radio. That is right.
Yeah.
The last person never
to
reached
a,
out to us.
A
We might have
technician so they
intimidated
get
him.
on 10 meters.
There is a technician in the stream looking for a radio right now.
We could do that right now, or Derek, it's your radio and it's your call how it gets handed off.
I don't
Do you want to do another stream? Do you want to give it to Jeremy82 this time?
Is he still on?
Jeremy, are you in the stream? Bueller?
Is he talking to Carlos? They're making a backstage deal. Oh, he's on.
Oh, there
Jeremy,
you go.
how do you feel about a Kenwood TS440
So Brian's in need of
radio?
a radio. I got a TS440.
And it's been all fixed up, right? You got the goo problem solved?
I got the goo problem solved. So the TS440 has an issue with the magic goo they put on the VFO. So there are 5 VFOs, I think, inside of that can, and it absorbs moisture over time. So you'll hear about the magic dots that show up on the screen, and basically you just pull all that hot snot out of there, and it starts working again. So it does work.
Son of a gun.
I should probably go through it again, make sure everything works on every band under load, just to be sure. But it's a decent radio.
We have Jeremy's contact details on the Toads Discord. So as soon as you make that decision, we can make that connection.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Jeremy, we might have a radio for you. We will let you know the next couple of days, my friend. And it's been great having you on the show, Derek. Derek's show is linked in the description down below. You can find Derek on the Toads Discord as well. I think his username is Amrad
Amrad Podcast
on Discord.
I think I'm
on
Source on Discord. And Twitter.
You're Derek Amrad in Toads.
Derek Amrad.
And your avatar looks like you. But the
It is,
avatars
in
are
fact,
small.
me with flaming xylophone.
Flaming xylophone.
One of the earlier Element 14 episodes. Yep.
You can see, besides
folks.
Derek's channel, you can see Derek on Element 14 videos on a fairly
Yes.
regular basis too,
That's
which
true,
are
yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, we do some real nerding out with semiconductors and tank circuits, and dive a little deeper into the electronic side of things.
I want you and James to do like an episode together and, light something on fire or, make a microwave death ray or something. Maybe something with lasers. Freaking lasers are cool.
Well, that could happen. I won't say that I won't say that it is going to happen, but it possibly could. There's a high probability of that.
Good deal. Steve, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just cutting the stream off, man. I was saying
Well, cut
good
on,
night to
cut on.
everybody.
I'm going to shut up. Thank you, Derek, for coming, by the way.
Jim
live.
needs to
everybody
get out
blanked out
and and hydrate and urinate and
I need,
There you go.
yes, I
And
need to
inhalate.
onload, offload, and inhale.
reload. Folks, it has been fantastic. Thank you all for going on this journey with us, and stay tuned next Monday for the next thing. Next Monday's
we
show is going to be M17. We're going to take this dingus here, and we're going to get on M17 somehow. And this dingus is still in the box. So this is all I know, as is with Nuggets. This is how it will go. I'm clicking the button. Thank you all. 73.